Hey everyone, welcome back. As you all know, I recently made a video about the jungler tier list in honor of kings, which I think turned out really great. You got to learn about the strongest and weakest junglers in the game, and I got to read tons of your opinions too, which were really an interesting read. In the comments of that video, a lot of you asked me to make a farm lane or ADC tier list for the game. So to fulfill your request, I'm back with another tier list video. First of all, I want to apologize for the delay. My exams were going on, so I didn't get much time to work on videos. But now they're almost over, so I'll be back to uploading regularly again. Before we jump into the tier list, there are a few important things I want to mention, so please pay attention. First, this tier list is based on how well you can carry your team after fully mastering a specific champion. So if you're new or trying a hero for the first time, meaning you haven't mastered them yet, you probably won't be able to use their full potential. Then you might form opinions like, this hero is trash, or this hero is SSS+, but I don't think that's fair. Second, this tier list is made specifically for this season. If you've watched my jungler tier list, you know that I take battlefield buffs into account when making these rankings. So if the theme or buffs change next season, you'll most likely see some changes in the tier list too. Third, this tier list is highly subjective. It's based on my personal opinions, experiences, and observations. So if you agree with me, that's great, and if you disagree, that's totally fine too. Marksmen, or ADCs in this game, are fewer compared to junglers, so this video is going to be a bit shorter. But don't worry, I'll give clear and fair reasons for why I placed each hero where they are. I won't do any injustice to any hero, so without any more talking, let's roll the intro. Just like our jungler tier list, I'm starting this farm lane tier list with the most picked marksman in the game, and that's none other than Hao Yi. Right now, he's the most picked ADC in honor of kings, and I'm placing him in T1. Hao Yi is a classic marksman who deals consistently high damage from early to late game. His ultimate is extremely strong, especially if you are good with it and know the perfect timing to use it. Even if he's not physically present in a teamfight, he can still turn the tide of battle if he managed to successfully land his ultimate on enemy damage dealers. His only real weakness is that he doesn't have any mobility skills, so once enemies jump on him, it's hard to escape. After talking about the most picked farm laner, how about we rank the least picked one next, and based on the current stats available on HOK Camp, that's Meng Ya. I'm placing Meng Ya in tier 3, and the reason is pretty simple. While he can be strong during the laning phase, he falls off really hard in the late game, and struggles a lot to create tempo in the current meta. Once he falls behind early, there's basically no way for him to come back or make any real impact in the match. Next up is Chano. He used to rank higher in previous tier lists because his dogs were really versatile. They could block enemy skill shots and even help push towers a bit. But now with Spritelings in the game, they basically do the same thing, and everyone kind of feels like a Chano now. That means he's not special anymore, especially this season, and has basically turned into a worse version of Lady Sun. That's why I'm placing him in T2. Next up is Consort Yu, and she's a very situational marksman. If the enemy team has heroes like Mai Shiranui, Kong Ming, or Eren, then she becomes so useless. But if the enemy team mostly has physical damage dealers, then she shines well. Her laning phase goes smoothly, and she can easily carry the match. She's also one of the best counters to those sneaky killstealer heroes like Prince of Landling or Ark, since her skill 2 removes all CC, gives her a movement speed buff, and makes her invulnerable to physical damage for a short time. So placing her in T1 feels totally justified. Next is Garo, and I'm placing her in T2. Garo has amazing damage output, and her laning phase is quite strong too. However, her mid game is weak, and she lacks any real escape tools or potential, which makes her an easy target for the enemies. Next up is Agudo. I already placed her in a high tier in our jungler tier list and explained why in detail there. Now looking at her as a farm laner, Agudo has great mobility and decent damage, though it does fall off in the late game. What makes her special is that you can actually engage with Agudo, not just rely on her furball. She also has built-in sustain, and her passive makes securing neutral objectives very easy. If you're facing her, you're likely to lose most neutral objectives. That's why she's a solid T0.5 pick. And here we have our first high-tier hero in this list. Next up is Fang, and this champion is ass. He struggles both as a farm laner and a jungler. There are 3 things that make a good ADC, like the ability to win lane and create tempo, survivability, and solid damage. Fang tries to do all 3 but fails at each. He can hold his lane somewhat, but he can't create tempo, his survivability is weaker than ADCs built for that role, and his damage is just terrible. That's why he's placed in T4. In my opinion, Fang just needs a damage buff, and he would perform much better than he does right now. Next up is Eren, and I'm placing her in T0.5, making her our second high-tier marksman. Most of her stats are fairly average, but her teamfight damage is insane, and it's strong enough that I couldn't justify placing her any lower. Next up is Alessio. Honestly, I wanted to put him with Fang in T4, but unlike Fang, he has a bit more going on. I'm placing him in T3, mostly for the same reasons I mentioned for Fang, but slightly higher. Honestly, maybe just because he seems cooler. No other real reason. Flowborn is a well-rounded marksman with solid damage and a good escape. His late-game teamfight damage is insane, though his mid-game and laning are just average. Not bad, but nothing special. That's why I place him in T1. Next up is Lubun number 7, the highest burst damage ADC in the game. He can shred tanks in the late game, making him the ultimate tank killer. However, he is quite immobile, and his best roamer partner isn't available on the global server yet. That's why I placed him in T2. If his roamer comes to global, he could easily rise in the rankings. Next is Direnji, who basically has no losing matchups. He has a built-in cleanse, and because of his build versatility, he becomes really hard to kill. His damage is solid, and like Lubin, he can shred tanks too. On top of that, his ultimate provides strong CC to handle those tower divers. For all these reasons, he belongs in T1. Next up is Shuyu, a unique marksman. He doesn't really have losing matchups if you're accurate with his snipes, but if you miss them, almost every matchup becomes a losing one. He also has a skill that places a ward, giving vision of the surrounding area, which makes it hard for enemies to camp or gank him. His late game damage is very high, though his DPS can be inconsistent. Overall, he's a strong pick if played skillfully, and I'd place him in T1. Next is Luara, our first global exclusive hero, and I'm placing her in T2. Honestly, she could be a T1 pick, but her damage is statically slightly lower compared to other T1 marksmen. Not too low, just not quite on par. Al Yin probably has the best escape ability of any marksman in the game. If you want to survive, he almost always will. No matter how much CC he takes, activating his ultimate makes him untargetable and lets him survive. His main downsides are that his damage is single target and somewhat low, and his laning phase is weak. However, once he's fed, his burst becomes really strong. That's why I'm placing him in T1. Huangjong is weak as shit from level 1 to 4, and his mid game is pretty bad. He only becomes strong in the late game, but even then he dies too easily and has the lowest mobility of any marksman. He basically can't move if he wants to deal damage. His skill 2 gives vision, but the range is very short, and the shield it provides is almost negligible. Even with roaming supports like Dolia, he usually struggles to perform well. So he goes to T3. Lady Sun is the perfect ADC for one-trick pony enjoyers. Like some other marksmen, she doesn't have any losing matchups, and her laning phase is strong throughout the entire game. She has a mobility skill that gives her both a dash and a movement speed buff, and her burst range is very good. That's why she belongs in T0.5. Next is Marco Polo, and I'm placing him in T2. This might surprise you, especially if you're a Marco Polo main or have faced him in ranked matches. But trust me, Marco Polo is very, very weak in lane. You might not notice it in low elo, but once you reach 1700 plus peak points, you're going to get completely bullied out of the lane as Marco Polo. Before we move on to the last hero in this tier list, I'd like to mention a wildcard entry, Li Xin. It might sound hard to believe at first, but you can actually play Li Xin domination form in the farm lane if you're really skilled with him. As you know, Li Xin's domination form can deal range damage, and he also has a skill that lets him dash and dodge CC, which is super useful when the enemy marksman tries to poke or overextend. His ultimate and domination form, if it lands, can instantly shred your HP down to 30 to 20%, and once he completes his full combo on an ADC who are usually squishy, they're done for. Because of all that, I'm placing him in T1. Just remember, don't use his revenge form in the farm lane, it's pretty shit there. And the last hero in this list, which I'm sure you've already guessed and probably even know where she'll be placed, is Arli. Arli is undoubtedly a T0 hero because, just like Jing, she can completely carry games on her own without needing much help from the team. She's got solid damage, incredible burst potential, and amazing mobility. She's basically the Jing of the farm lane. And if you want to learn her in depth, make sure to check out my 32-minute Arli guide on the channel. And with that, our tier list is complete. You can now take a look at it and share your thoughts or opinions across different platforms. I'd love to see your discussions about it. Also, if you're in low elo, don't worry too much about this tier list. You can pretty much play any hero you like and still win. I made this tier list mainly to help you decide what to pick or play in the current season at higher elo matches. It basically gives you a full picture of the current farm lane meta. And once again, this tier list is highly subjective. It's based on my personal experience and understanding of the game. So if you disagree, feel free to share your opinions or reasoning in the comment section below. That's it for this video, lads. I hope you now know who the strongest and weakest farm laners are in this season, and that this tier list helps you climb ranks more easily. Don't forget to hype and like this video so I stay motivated to bring you more awesome content and stay consistent on the channel. Share this video with your friends or duo partners to help them out too. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're so close to hitting 4,000 subscribers. Let's make it happen before October ends. Let's keep growing our lovely W family. I'll see you all in the next video. Till then, bye and love y'all.